I feel like the educators in our school systems are already so overwhelmed, so busy. They don't have the time to look into a new leadership curriculum. I feel like, especially as a parent, it's easy to kind of hover over my children and not let them have as much responsibilities we may have had, not let them have these experiences. I hope that we're able to kind of develop them into people that can go out into the world and make their own decisions and be successful.
So today we have the pleasure of welcoming a new friend to School on a Mission, Penny Abbott. Penny is currently serving as Executive Director of the Foundation for Leadership Education in Beaufort, South Carolina. Penny leads an organization focused on preparing tomorrow's leaders by helping young people build leadership skills, character, confidence, and community connection.
And it's interesting, our initial mission was just to focus on high school, 9th through 12th. Those seem like the emerging leaders that were ready to make the most impact. And as we've gotten into these different programs and learned that there was a space for K through 5, 6 through 8, our elementary and middle schools, we thought, why would we not want to start as young as we can, and teaching, again, these core beliefs and these values.
What happens when people who care come together and focus on the next generation. You heard us from the beginning of this podcast. We on this podcast are all about hope and investing in the next generation. Welcome everyone to season 4 of School on a Mission. Andrew McPeak here alongside the always thoughtful and always insightful Gina Watts. Gina, how you doing?
I'm great. I feel like it's been forever since we've done this, and I'm so excited for our first guest of the season. Yeah.
Me too. And I'm excited for today's conversation. It's going to be awesome. So folks, if you believe the schools should be more than just essays and GPAs, if you believe the EQs are just as important as IQs, and if you expect amazing things from the next generation, then you are in the right place because we believe that too.
And we are especially excited because today kicks off our summer series for School on a Mission. This summer, we're highlighting some incredible people and organizations who are helping students thrive beyond the traditional K through 12 classroom. We'll be talking with leaders from education and education-adjacent spaces, people who are investing in students in leadership development or mentorship through homeschool programs, hybrid programs, mental health, athletics, you name it. We found the experts to talk about it.
We did indeed. And I'm really excited for this series, Gina, because the truth is helping young people succeed takes more than just the classroom, more than just the teacher, more than just one single program or one single effort, right? Students thrive when an entire community comes together around them.
That's right. There are so many people serving students and families in meaningful ways every single day. And often, if not always, they're doing it behind the scenes. And we wanted to spend this time this summer celebrating those contributions and highlighting the role that these partnerships can play in the overall well-being and success of young people.
Absolutely. And as we mentioned already, today's guest is going to be a perfect way to kick off the series.
But first, it's time for question of the day. Are you ready, my friend?
I'm always ready.
I mean, maybe. I don't know. That's debatable. Okay, here's the question. Who was the leader or mentor or maybe a program that you had experience with that had made a meaningful impact in your life when you were just a young lad?
Okay, you said leader, mentor, program. I'm going to do all three in one person, okay?
Boom. I guess you are ready often.
I had a mentor who was also a leader. He actually started as my Sunday school teacher. His name was Mr. Neal. 7th grade, I was in his Sunday school class, but we kind of connected. He was a friend of my dad's as well, and he was super involved in a lot of different things, and he sort of recognized, even at a really young age, Andrew, I think you have some skills, you have some abilities, you have some influence, and I want to connect you with opportunities. So he did that in all kinds of ways. But one of the most significant ones was he invited me to apply for, so I still had to earn my way to get there, but to apply for a summer leadership program that he was a part of. And it happened in the summers for 2 weeks. It was only available for high school age students. And so for 3 of my high school summers, I got invested in as a leader, and that wouldn't have happened without Mr. Neal. And not only was he the one who got me there, he was also one of the faculty of this leadership program. And so I in many ways am indebted to Mr. Neal for investing in me, which is pretty cool.
Shout out to
Yeah.
Mr. Neal. We celebrate, Yeah, that's great.
What about you, Gina?
Yeah, I'm sitting here looking up. People are always like, what are you looking at? Well, right now, my youngest has a picture that he drew on my calendar. So that's what I was looking at. It kind of looks like a camel. I don't know why, but okay.
I feel like I'm in the room with you right now.
You are. That's what I was doing. I was bringing you guys into the room. So, I am very fortunate. I know that not everybody is fortunate enough to have so many experiences with mentorship, whether it's been organic or you were a part of a program your parents signed you up for. So, I am very grateful. Immediately I thought of my church, and I thought of Girl Scouts. So I'm going to stick with Girl Scouts. And you guys already know, if you've listened to any of our episodes or our series, they're all connected to who? My mama, Nana Banana. She's the one, always. So my mom started Girl Scout Troop 3040 at St. John's Roman Catholic, in Uniontown, Pennsylvania. It was first Girl Scout troop at the school. And guess what? Still there. Troop 3040. We don't want to know how old I am, but let's say it's nearing its 40th anniversary. That's all I have to say. We started off as brownies, and she kept it going through my matriculation. So into me becoming a Girl Scout. It taught me so many things. A couple of things. One is I do believe that our Scouts programs have really good foundational roots in leadership development, relationship, community building, and it taught me a lot. It taught me a lot there. I'm so grateful for it. And also, I got to see my mom in practice as a leader. Like, she was doing something in addition to her normal 9 to 5. She wasn't a stay-at-home mom. My mom was a teacher. She was always serving in the community. And so she and the beloved Mrs. Carol Gudak, who, rest in peace, passed away a few years ago, they were just moms who started Girl Scouts for their daughters. And we got to do so many things, from making ceramics, which was Mrs. Gudak's love language, to learning ridiculous songs that I sing today and share with Eric Jr., and he is annoyed by them, to trips and retreats and just different events that we got to experience. And I hadn't thought about Girl Scouts in a while, but that was the first thing that came to my mind with that question. So yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah.
We it feels like we underestimate the influence that some of those, what would otherwise be termed small, maybe inconsequential, or that's just a friend, or that's just my scout, whatever it is. But those are exactly the kinds of relationships that change kids' lives.
Yep.
And so I love that, Gina. Thank you for sharing that. I feel like it's a great setup for what today's episode is all about.
Yeah. So today we have the pleasure of welcoming a new friend to School on a Mission, Penny Abbott. Penny is currently serving as executive director of the Foundation for Leadership Education in Beaufort, South Carolina. Penny leads an organization focused on preparing tomorrow's leaders by helping young people build leadership skills, character, confidence, and community connection. You are, like, that one sentence, you all already know why we have her here. You already know that all the alignment is together. Through the use of curriculum like iLead, shout out to iLead, and through scholarships, mentorship opportunities, and intergenerational leadership initiatives, the Foundation for Leadership Education is helping students grow into thoughtful, service-minded leaders, the kind of leaders that we want leading us today and in the future.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And one of the things we really love about Penny's work is how intentionally her organization is creating opportunities for students to connect with both their peers and respected community leaders like we've been talking about. There's such a strong belief that leadership development doesn't just happen in classrooms. Mm-hmm. Hear that, y'all? It happens through relationships, experiences, and community. So, Penny, we are so glad you're here. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here. Yeah. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, we are honored. So here's how we want to kick off. We're going to throw a few questions your way,
Okay.
Penny. So starting off, given your leadership expertise leading the Foundation for Leadership Education, what role do you feel like, we've already kind of shared some of our opinions, but what role do you feel like programs like yours play in helping students thrive both inside and outside of school?
Excellent question. That is something that we are learning every day on how to expand on. We are so thrilled and proud to offer the Maxwell Foundation's iLead leadership program inside the classroom. We just piloted that in a couple of local public schools in K through 12, and we've had excellent response. It's been so successful, and we wanted to figure out how we could continue that progress even after school's out for the summer. One way we were able to do that is to partner with the Boys and Girls Club of the Lowcountry, locally here. And they are piloting the iLead program in their summer series, which starts in just a couple of weeks. We also want to build upon that. We've found a couple of play-based programs that are helping children not only, we don't want them in front of their computers all the time. They're learning to just get out there, play. It sounds kind of wild that you have to learn how to play again, but I feel like it's important, just letting kids know that that's okay. Beyond the classroom, we have a Lighthouse Scholarship program that focuses not only on academic excellence, but the way these high school seniors make an impact in our community, the way they're able to lead others, what they are able to do outside of the classroom has been really impressive. And then to connect them with our founding leaders in our community, we've created this legacy mentoring program. We have an annual Lowcountry Lifetime Achievement Awards ceremony each year that recognizes impactful individuals in our community and that people have been leaders for years and years and years. And we try to connect them with our scholarship recipients and applicants. This is something that can be done as a classroom mentorship, or we're more than happy to bring it outside of the classroom and have this be kind of an individual conversation. They can learn from each other and build experiences together. I hope that wraps it up a little bit.
No, it was great. I was thinking, I was like, how many? I just have so many thoughts and questions and was writing notes. So sorry. I was like, and one thing with Andrew and I, while we love doing our podcast and interviewing folks and hearing about your stories and amplifying your message to a broader community, we're sitting here like little nerds learning. We're like, oh, I want to know more about that or about this. So,
I feel the same when I listen to the podcast. I find myself thinking,
oh, thank you. It was so helpful. Thank you. I'm definitely going to come back to the intergenerational program,
yes.
A Lifetime Achievement Award and stuff. I do want to say, though, I love the way that your organization is intentionally creating this space. I think sometimes it's more happenstance than more intentional, where we're looking at our leaders that are already established in the community and how can they connect back to young people who are becoming leaders, right? And they're learning who they are. Can you tell us why this matters? Like, why does it matter for a student to hear from and connect with leaders who have gone before them? I mean, I think we can all make our own assumptions about what we think the answer is, but why are you passionate about it? And what have you seen come out of that intergenerational relationship building?
Well, on a personal note, I have two young sons. I have a 6th grader and a 2nd grader. So this work feels very important to me, just to be able to offer these opportunities for them as they continue to grow. Part of the foundation of our organization was the realization that we didn't have this kind of leadership curriculum in our school systems. We didn't have acknowledgement of leaders to look up to for high school students to look up to, which is the original mission, was to create those two things: find a leadership curriculum to have in the classroom and to honor these leaders of the past and the present. We didn't think at first, we should connect them together. That might actually be very helpful and very promising. We had some of our Lowcountry Lifetime Achievement awardees bring it to our attention that there should be more of a connection between the two. They had read the research. We looked into, all the concern and excitement about Generation Z and just wanted to know how we could connect those two together. So we thought, We have a pool of these applicants that are incredible high school seniors with our Lighthouse Scholarship Program. We have this group of impressive leaders in our community. Let's see what would happen if we brought them together to not only just be spoken to as mentors, but we wanted to have it be a back and forth conversation. There's a really interesting group in Beaufort. It's called Breakfast in Beaufort. We like to call them that affectionately. There was a documentary that came out last year called Breakfast in Beaufort, Journeys Through Life. And it's a group of older gentlemen between the ages of 84 and 101 that get together every single week at a little cafe in town called Blackstone to exchange their own life experiences, to talk about things that happened in World War II or Korea, or how things now just seem to be so different than it was when they were growing up, and the things that they thought were important and the lessons that they learned don't seem to apply nearly as strongly to students these days. From what they said, some it feels like we've gotten a little soft, I guess, compared to what they did, so long ago. So they came to us and asked if we would be willing to bring a couple of our Lighthouse scholars to meet with them for breakfast and have that one-on-one mentorship, have those conversations. The first one, it was a lot of the older gentlemen kind of telling the kids, back in my day, this is how it was done. This is kind of how it's best. But we were able to work together and kind of have them trade off and ask each other questions and learn what this next generation is focusing on and how they feel like they can make a positive impact. There's still skills that need to be built. I feel like, communication, one-on-one, eye to eye is important. Different things that these men and women are able to bring to the table has become pretty helpful with these kids. I feel, even as someone who's definitely not Generation Z, a little older, but to be in those rooms with these individuals and hear the struggles that they've overcome, I think that part of it's pretty valuable to see that you can, to learn resilience, for younger children to learn resilience, that if you make a mistake, you can pick yourself back up, and it could end up teaching you a huge lesson on how to move forward, or may create an even better plan down the road. Resilience feels very important. There's one part of the documentary that these men were a part of, and one of the stories, the gentleman said that he just remembered in the back of his mind, always listen to your daddy, always remember things that your old elders are told, and he was able to use different advice in different situations he was in war and all kinds of things. So we feel like there's a lot to learn from them, and then vice versa. I think there's a lot that the older generation can learn from these upcoming seniors. They may not want to hear it all the time, and they may be a little bit resistant to it, but there are things that they can learn from each other. And as we build this program, we're taking turns interviewing each of our Low Country Lifetime Achievement awardee alumni, and getting their story, and just trying to take out different pieces that we may be able to apply to some of the core values and beliefs of the iLead program. If we're trying to go back, if we're going back into the classroom, we're trying to connect some of the, the values of courage or resilience, commitment, and bring these stories to the schools, bring these individuals to kind of tell how they used those growing up. They've got a lot of life and experience to share. It's really interesting.
It's so good. So good. Yeah, those kinds of relationships feel like they're transformative. So, okay, Penny, I know we got a couple more questions we're going to throw your way, but first we are going to take a quick break. All right, friends, you just heard Penny talk about the importance of intergenerational connection, and at Growing Leaders, we share that same passion. If you want to dive deeper into that conversation, I want to throw a couple book recommendations your way. If you've ever read Tim Elmore, you know he's brilliant. Well, Tim has 2 recent books on this topic of intergenerational connection. The most recent one is called The Future Begins with Z, and then he also wrote a great book called A New Kind of Diversity. Both are great resources for anyone who wants to invest in the next generation.
Thank you, Andrew, for that. We also mentioned iLead, our values-based K-12 leadership curriculum, and Penny did a great job of actually sharing with you a couple of the values that students in grades K through 12 and also college coming your way are currently navigating and having conversations about. And so iLead equips students with character, confidence, and critical life skills they need to thrive in school and beyond. So you want to know more about iLead. Before you start digging around and looking for it, I want you to go into the show notes, click on the link so that you can try it. You can actually try iLead, no commitment necessary, and see what we're talking about. There's a super simple link. It'll be in our show notes and also on our website at www.growingleaders.com. Up in the top right-hand corner, it says try iLead. Be sure to check also the other links in our show notes to find resources that we're discussing or to schedule a discovery call with one of our team, which could include a call with me or Andrew. You might be scared to do that one though. Our team's way better at those conversations than we are. It's kind of like our podcast. But for more information, please connect with us. We'd love to hear about what you're doing in your community or what you'd hope to see happen with the next generation. All right, let's jump back into our conversation with Penny. Penny, you have been a delight thus far, dear. We're so grateful to spend time with you. We're learning so much, hearing so much. I think, I don't know, do you think the seniors would invite me to breakfast? Because I feel like now I'm hearing about it. I want to be there. I want to break bread.
Yes, I'll
I want to
treat you to some bacon and
learn from
eggs.
them.
We'd love to have you.
Yes.
Yes.
I love it.
Yes.
I love it. All right. So, Penny, you work closely with schools, with community organizations, families, and mentors. And I think that really reflects the idea that student success is a shared investment, right? It's at all hands on deck. A village mentality, like in the greatest way possible. How do we all link arms to take care of the next generation? So what have you seen happen when schools and community partners work well together? Maybe there's a particular example or two that come to your mind, or maybe there's just some things that you've noticed over your years of leadership that you're like, I wish that could happen all the time.
Right.
And we could keep replicating that.
Well, the first thing that comes to mind is just we're able to get so much done. If we are able to work together, it's not, I feel like the educators in our school systems are already so overwhelmed, so busy. They don't have the time to look into a new leadership curriculum or do the research themselves. Our foundation had that desire. We wanted to bring leadership curriculum to the school systems, to local organizations, but we didn't have a whole staff of educators that knew how to develop a curriculum. So we were able to do that legwork and behind the scenes and find the perfect program that we could bring into these organizations. We also feel like parent involvement is so important. I've just noticed that throughout the years. Some of the guidance counselors and facilitators that I've spoken with that are implementing this iLead program said that they notice such a difference when they send home the little cheat sheets to the parents to let them know like what core beliefs they're talking about that day and to get an actual response. Some of the parents are so excited and come back and say, tell me more about that. I'd like to be able to talk about that at the dinner table or bring that idea home. I think we are able to build the students and the educators during the school year to absorb all of this information, and they can take these things home with them over the summer and maybe, work on these character traits, work on developing these ideas. The kids are having these student-led discussions that I hope go outside of the classroom and that follow them throughout the summer. They're learning all kinds of new skills constantly. So we're much better as a whole together than just the individuals. It's been really exciting to see what can happen when people that really care come together and try to make something happen.
Yeah. Well, that was a really good last statement, that what happens when people who care come together and focus on the next
Sounds very
generation.
simplistic.
No, but that's just it. Yeah. Because one thing that I feel like I run into a lot, Gina and I both get to travel around and see different communities. I've actually been to Beaufort, so I know how invested you guys are. Parents, community members, business leaders, educators, all those folks. But here's what's really interesting is there's a really big difference between when everyone takes responsibility for the next generation and when in so many communities I've been in where everybody goes, well, I'm doing my job they're not doing theirs. I can't make them do their job. But I just love it when an entire community comes together and goes, that's not their job, that's our job, right? And reframes the question. So I just want to commend you and what you guys are doing in Beaufort, because you have an amazing community down there. We're coming up on our last question here. And I want it to be a good one, because we on this, okay, good. Thank you. We on this, you heard us from the beginning of this podcast. We on this podcast are all about hope and investing in the next generation. We believe that when you invest in leaders, it creates transformation that changes the trajectory of where they're headed. And that's really important, because one day they're going to be in charge, right? Like it or not. So you've talked about this vision of preparing tomorrow's leaders from a community-based approach. So I want to lean into that vision a bit. When you picture a student leaving one of your programs, one of the many things you guys have going on, they're more confident, they're more equipped, maybe they're more connected, they've got skills, they also got values. So like all of that, what is it that gives you hope as you look towards the next generation? What's the vision of hope for you?
Well, again, to reiterate that I have 2 young boys at home, so I do think about this a lot, the hope for the future generations. And as we're developing these capable, responsible, independent individuals, I just hope that they are able to be confident enough to write what I've heard described as a life sentence, where you discover the impact that you want to leave on the world in the future. You are able to use these skills that you are learning through K through 12 and all these wonderful development programs, and move forward on your own and find your new path, make a positive impact in the community. I hope that they feel like they are set with the right values that they need to make these decisions, and that I've done a lot of research on how we can, I feel like, especially as a parent, it's easy to kind of hover over my children and not let them have as much responsibility as we may have had, not let them have these experiences. I hope that we're able to kind of develop them into people that can go out into the world and make their own decisions and be successful.
Penny, I know Andrew was wrapping us up, but he's used to it. I usually change the plan. As you were talking, we leaned in and just started focusing on the intergenerational work that you did, because it just, when we hear a new idea, or maybe an idea that's not new but done incredibly well, we kind of latch onto it. So forgive me. I wanted to make sure we gave a little bit of time, though, because your programs do K through 12, right? So maybe can I ask you a question a little bit about the early learners and the work that you're doing there? So you guys focus on leadership development, not just like middle school and high school and then matching folks up intergenerationally. You also are doing things intentionally. That's like our word for you, intentional, when it comes to leadership development of young learners. So what have you learned about your youngest people in your programs, of how they are growing into confident, healthy leaders? And I'll tell you, one, I want to highlight your success in doing this, but also I am a parent of a 7-year-old,
have 8
and a 27-year-old. We can't talk about why that happened, but our audience is used to it. They know I got that 20-year age gap, and I only raise kids every 20 years.
Right.
However, my 7-year-old, I'm seeing the things that he's challenged by, the things that he is experiencing, and also the value that he gets to add on his great days. So just as a parent and as a fellow leader in this leadership development space, I'm excited to hear your response to what you're seeing in our youngest learners.
Absolutely. And it's interesting, our initial mission was just to focus on high school, 9th through 12th. Those seem like the emerging leaders that were ready to make the most impact. And as we've gotten into these different programs and learned that there was a space for K through 5, 6 through 8, our elementary and middle schools, we thought, why would we not want to start as young as we can, and teaching, again, these core beliefs and these values. I have an 8-year-old, and seeing the way that he interacts, the way his mind works, and just these little soft skills that he's starting to develop, and these core beliefs he's latching onto, it's amazing to me, the things that come to their minds, the things that they're dealing with so much earlier than we did. But the hope is that they will be able to use these programs and be able to manage these things a little bit better. I feel like emotional intelligence is so important as we develop these soft skills. Just the kids that I've been able to interact with are able to communicate so much easier about the way they're feeling, about the way, this is how to handle certain situations, and which is very impressive. I think that it's really important for them to develop autonomy. It's like I was saying earlier, it's so much easier sometimes to just go behind and do things for these kids. But I think that these programs are teaching them to do things more on their own. They're able to have these peer-to-peer led conversations where they're developing their communication skills a little bit quicker than we may have. And I just think it's so important to have the self-leadership, and then the leadership within their community, and then leadership going into the world. And being able to start this leadership curriculum so early has just really made an impact, I think, so far. We've only been piloting the program for a couple of years, but the feedback that we've received is just the schools that have done it have asked if they could please, if they just did K through 5, if they could please add 6 through 8, if they could continue to have this program as their kids are moving through. So it's been important.
So brilliant. So brilliant. We do kids a disservice when we assume that they cannot start influencing people until they get to high school and beyond, right? In fact, in many communities where we go, they're not even thinking about themselves as leaders until they're a manager in a company somewhere, and that just will not do. So, Penny, this has been incredible, a great, meaningful conversation. We got to say thank you for the impact that you're making there in Beaufort, because I know it's spidering out into communities, not just in South Carolina, but all over the country, the influence that you guys are having. So we've really enjoyed hearing about all the ways your organization is helping, especially young people of all ages, develop their voice, their leadership, and their connection to community. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. We're excited about it.
I think today was such a good reminder, Penny, spending time with you, that helping students thrive, it does take all of us. It takes a village. And I want to just highlight your incredible work that you're doing to nurture all of those relationships, to advocate for the youngest of us, which is our next generation, who needs us to advocate for them and care about them. From educators to families to mentors to nonprofits to community leaders, you're doing what it takes to get everybody at the table so that we can all invest in the next generation. So thank you again.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, listeners, we've heard some incredible stuff from Penny today, and that can only mean one thing. When we're full of good things, I've taken a bunch of notes.
Same.
I know Gina has too, because we're both nerds. It is time for DMI. DMI, of course, stands for Don't Miss It. Gina and I are both going to highlight one thing from today we don't think our listeners should miss. So, Gina, I'm going to let you kick us off. What is your DMI?
So, I'm going to take probably what you want to share. So, I hope you have a second one.
We always do that to one another.
We do.
So, it's the privilege of going first to steal the other person's thought.
Exactly. And not that there's not more than one thing that we could share, but I just, this resonated with me so much. It was actually the first thing that I wrote. When Penny was sharing with us about the intergenerational work that her organization does, and she said 2 words that speak to the core of Gina's soul, and that's legacy mentoring. And I really feel like when we think about mentoring programs, we think about either an experience that we had as far as a mentorship opportunity that either happened organically or intentionally through a program and a match like Big Brothers Big Sisters or something like that, or we think about it in this way. And when she said legacy mentoring, what clicked in my brain that maybe hadn't clicked before was that John Maxwell says that. He poses the question, will things live because of you or will they live beyond you? And that's what legacy is that we should be in the habit as a practice in our lives of making sure that legacy is not what's just left behind, but what will live beyond us, right? I don't know that. What? McPeak? Where did that come from?
If you got a mic, you need to drop it. I'm just saying.
Where did that come from? I don't know. I'm proud of myself with that one. Penny, every once in a while, I drop a good one. But genuinely, like, I think that's it, is that as we're, whether it's at Breakfast in Beaufort or, Boys and Girls Club or organizations in your community, our mentorship must be something that's about what's going to live beyond us and how we are supporting those who are coming along with us and behind us. And so just that intergenerational work, like I'm kind of wrecked today by that. I feel like I need to go write about it. It's just genuinely, it was great. It's great. How about you, Andrew? What's your DMI?
Yeah, well, I'm like you. I wrote down a lot of things. I think the thing I come back to time and again is Penny's energy, her intentionality. In fact, she said this, that leaning in, developing leaders means learning to take initiative, engage, and connect with multiple generations. And honestly, the spirit that I had immediately is, Penny is amazing. Why aren't more people doing this? And I just got to say, like, we've got a lot of probably educational leaders who are listening to this, and I feel like I need to be the voice of challenge and go, because I go to a lot of communities and they're like, our teachers, it's one more thing and all this stuff. And it's like, what we've just seen, what we've just heard is an example showing how this can be done from a community approach, where we go, it's not one more thing for our teachers, it is a responsibility for an entire community to invest in the next generation. And, I wrote a book a couple years ago. I called it Ready for Real Life, because everywhere I go, no matter who I talk to about the next generation, everybody has this shared goal. We all say, really, when it gets down to it, whether I'm teaching math or science, or I'm president of the PTO, or I'm the coach of the baseball team, or whatever my responsibility is, really what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get this kid ready for the world they're entering into, ready for real life. And I just feel like we abdicate that actual mission so many times because we're too exhausted, we don't have enough time, or whatever those things are. And I want people to take care of themselves. I'm not saying that, but I just got to say, Penny has given us an example that we need to lean into. Leadership is the missing ingredient. This can be done. Invest in the community. And if you're an educational leader out there, I wrote this down. Look around you and ask what leaders and resources are around you that could be available to your students, and make those connections happen, even if you don't have time. So that voice of challenge is coming out of me today, and I can't stop it.
I love it. And we should put it in the show notes, and maybe that's something that y'all could journal about, because that is it. Because think about it. The Breakfast in Beaufort, those gentlemen were already meeting. They were already meeting. So there's things happening in and around your community that people are waiting either to be invited into, or just for someone to see how the dots can be connected. And Penny, we thank you for being someone who connects the dots. So thank you so much again, Penny, for spending time with us today, and for the incredible work that you and the Foundation for Leadership Education are doing to invest in students, families, and your community. And friends, before you jump on to the next podcast, here's your challenge. Andrew already gave you one, so I don't even know if I should share this part, but he already gave you a challenge that probably should eat at your soul until you do something about it. But here's your challenge for the week. We want you to grab a pen, a notebook, a sticky note, or even the back of your hand, and write down one action you're going to take this week. It might be sending a note of encouragement to a space outside of the classroom. Maybe it's sending a note of encouragement to educators. Now this is in real time, it's summer, right? But whenever you're listening to this, think about how you can contribute to the next generation by supporting those who are serving in the K through 12 space. Or maybe it's you reaching out into your community to see how others can help support the next generation. Think about what you can do, friends. The power is within you to do this work, but doing it together in community makes it stick and makes it a little bit more easy on all of us if we work together. So do you got it? You got what you're going to do? Now, DM us, reach out to us on all of our platforms. Let us know what your action step is and how you are going to live that out. We can't wait to hear what awesome things that you're up to.
So good. Make sure you make time for that today. And of course, don't forget to check out the show notes for more information on iLead and other resources from growing leaders that can help you invest in the next generation.
And you can also learn more about Penny, her work, and the Foundation for Leadership Education in today's show notes as well.
So good. Well, thank you everybody for listening. That does it for today's episode. Penny, thank you once again for your contribution. This has been a great way to kick off our summer series. Until next time, listeners, stay curious, stay bold, and keep leading your school on a mission.